What's up, guys? Mystic Shop Podcast, episode 12.
I mean, it's going to be probably in reverse, but you know, I thought, seen as Swerve is not here, somebody's got to fucking, like, you know, hold up the bollocks, doesn't it? I know I said I'd never do it, but, you know, the point is that I guess because I always thought Swerve was going to be here, so, you know, the son of a bitch doesn't show up, and then it's, I mean, he's got his reasons. But still, now I thought it was me to do this bollocks.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got to do this one without Swerve, guys.
Yeah.
We got to do another one without Swerve. Oh my.
It happens.
Yeah. Nah, but I'm sure he has his reasons. I'm sure he has to take care of some things. Unlike the other one, I don't think he's gonna be like joining us midway. I think he has some things to take care of today. But we still gotta talk about Legends of Runeterra this week because a bunch of stuff has happened, and you know, the week before we didn't record, so since the 2 weeks, a whole bunch of news has happened, and you know, we still need to talk about it. Yeah. So I mean, we can go straight into pick a card. Fuck it. I don't mind going first. I honestly, every week, no. The reason why I say that is because most times I'm like, damn, what card do I hate? What card do I like? But like this week and last week, I've just been like, because I've been playing ladder so much, I already know what card I like. It's just the cards that I dislike because I don't really hate this meta. I like a lot of people, like, if you look, well, I've been paying attention to Twitter more than regularly, but I've been paying attention to like Swim and like Magua and like Nick and stuff, like Nick plays one and stuff like that, and they just been saying that this meta is just so stale, and I guess it's just because Lee Sin has been.
It's really not.
That's what I was saying to you.
It's so open right now.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, what meta is? I'm like, is the meta different in like Diamond and like Masters? Like, is it just completely different?
It's so varied now. It's like, I mean, even I swear that even Mugwai said it in Mugwai's latest video about the Undying deck. Even he says himself that it's more viable now because of the nerf to Hush. Because of the nerf to Hush, a lot more things are now viable. It's not just the Undying. There's a lot more things with that nerf to Hush because it just means they can't just shut down a board as quickly. So it's opened the door to so many things. I mean, obviously, like, maybe it's because people's minds are just too much on this Lee Sin thing right now, but Lee Sin's not as, like, if you're going into it thinking he's going to be a problem and you think, oh, what's the point of playing anything else because I might as well play the Lee Sin deck because quite clearly that's the best deck, well, then of course you're going to be seeing loads of Lee Sin decks on the board because no one's doing anything different. But exactly. There is a lot of things, and there are actually counters to him and whatnot now, so yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand when people say that this is, like, you know, a stale meta at the moment, because it's really not. Yeah. At least not to me.
I don't know. It's not to me either. That's what I was saying earlier when we were talking a little bit off the podcast. I was saying, like, to me personally, like, the meta is not stale. Like, every single game I'm facing different decks. I have to think, like, do they have this card? Do they have that card? Like, I have to think about it. It's not like, oh, I'm playing around 2 cards or I'm playing around 3 cards or whatever. Like, it's like every single game I have to play around different cards. So I don't know. Maybe the meta is just completely different in Diamond and Masters. Like, maybe we just have to make it there to see, because I'm just confused. But my favorite card personally, I don't know. I've been playing. Like I told you before. I've been playing a lot of Jinx Draven. So my favorite opening is when I have Zana Urchin with the one that
Jerry Rig.
Yeah.
What, Jerry Rig?
Yeah. That's like Zana Urchin is like that enabler.
Yeah. Fair play. I mean, it's a really good card. Draw card, discard card. But it's really well in a discard aggro deck.
Yep.
That shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I think it's what, like, cause you remember what the card used to do before they changed it. Because before it used to make you have to discard the card, and then when it died, you got
it was death rattle, sorry, like last breath, draw a card,
So that with the card having to die before you draw, it made the card way worse than what it is now.
The instant draw is devastating.
Yeah.
You got tempo on the board as well as the fact that you're drawing a card. It's exactly the same as why what's his face is one of the best cards that have come out of this the new cards was Fortune Croaker. Fortune Croaker's ability of just he does 1 damage to something, he does 1 damage to himself, but it's instant draw. And most of the times when you're playing him, you're either going to be playing him in a healing deck whereby doing the 1 damage is helpful in that way, or he has obviously seen a little bit of playing some Vladimir, which he's been seen play in Vladimir because obviously he's doing damage to himself and somebody else, so he's leveling up Vlad, but he's also been seen play in Swain decks because that damage again counts towards Swain. So as well, it's like things like Fortune Croaker is such a devastating card because it's just an instant play and get an instant draw and that off of it. And what that gives you in the discard deck is the fact that it's instant tempo. It's a 2/1, as well as most of the time if you're playing it on turn 1, you're getting a jerry most of the time getting a jerry rig out. So that's like 3 attack for the price of 1, plus you're drawing a card. Not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad. So there's the value there. It's, 100%. It's always been a high value. With that change rather than it being last breath. And it's super synergistic now. Like before, I'm not saying it wasn't, but it's like it has a lot more synergy in the deck because definitely.
You being able to discard 1 on top of getting a body on top of gaining tempo is like it's just a really good turn 1 play, and I feel like it's always gonna be good in that deck. But that was my most favorite card, to be honest. I mean,
it's understandable. It's always been a solid choice.
Least favorite card. I feel like when I play that deck, I just hate all healing. But I'm just gonna be honest. Whenever you play aggro deck, you're looking at your opponent when they play Shadow Owls, and you're like, well, this game is gonna be hard. But I feel like when it comes to healing, when it comes to cards that heal, I feel like the most hated card has to be Withering Wail, because
it's one of those cards like Withering Wail is such a but what I mean is it's devastating against your aggro deck, but Withering Wail is such a card now where it's like, do I put that in the to be fair, it might just be a personal thing, but whenever I think about making a Shadow Isles deck and I put in Withering Wail, I'm like, this is perfect aggro counter for if they're playing discard aggro or whatnot. But then I look at that and I also think, but it's such a. I mean, I guess you're making sure you're playing it, but I think it's such a good
Pyroid though.
It's not only is it bad against that, it's bad against the healing deck, because if you're doing if they've got their landmark out, you don't want to be doing damage to each of their minions, because each of their minions taking damage is what they want, so that the landmark heals it up. So I just sometimes think, whenever I'm against that healing deck and I draw Withering Wail, it's like, oh shit, literally, you know what I mean? Like in terms of this doesn't. Do you remember how Withering Wail didn't used to help against if you were playing against the Vladimir Crimson deck, where they had the Disciples, the Crimson Disciples out, where literally, but it used to be the point where this was Crimson Disciple before its nerf, when it would do 2 damage for every so it just be like you Withering Wail and you get in your head, it's like, when he's got 3 crimsons on the board, if I'm doing damage, I'm healing for 3, but I'm taking 6 damage. It's just such a bad move. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing where that's what used to be such a feels bad about Withering Wail, but now it kind of feels bad because we're just gonna heal all that damage into their land.
No, that's so true. Yeah, that's so true.
It's one of those things. The only real thing where it's one of those things where it's the annoyance of it then means that you kind of also have to run Crumble, because you need to be running Crumble as the counter to the landmark, but Crumble is as well just such a heavy cost not only is the fact like if you're playing it outside of an Undying deck, because I mean if you're playing it in an Undying deck, then kind of like you're killing one of your minions and you get to kill either one of their minions or get rid of their landmark. But if you're trying to play, say, like a deep deck or something like that, where you need what's his face? You need the heals yet again just to sustain yourself until you get deep, or you like it's Crumble such a hard card in that deck in terms of there are certain things you can there is certain things you can kill, but it depends on what part you've had to trade up or trade with in that to be able to get to where you are, if you know what I mean. Like it's a really hard thing. I mean, and the only other thing is to play, I guess, the Bilgewater landmark removal, but it is an 8 cost. It's like an 8 cost card, and yeah, it's good. It can still be used on minions. It can be used on landmarks, but it's just, I don't know. It's such a, for that cost, that's your whole turn done. That's your whole turn done.
Yep.
On trying to get rid. And so that's what I mean. It's a hard choice to make, putting Whale in the deck. And the annoyance as well is the fact that, like, you know for a fact that if you're playing that in a deep deck, you know for a fact that it's gonna be one of the cards that gets tossed. And as you see it gets tossed, no! I needed you!
Where were you?
Exactly, but no, it's a really good. It's one of those things where I can understand why you hate it. Like, in terms of like, I understand why you hate playing the deck that you're playing.
Yeah,
I 100% understand why you play it. But Withering Well to me is just such a it's a hard card to decide whether I put that in my deck or not.
Yeah,
personally, but
with how the meta is right now. I mean, me personally, I'm playing aggro. Like I kind of got tired of playing Pirate aggro. That's why I switched to Jinx, and I felt like it was a funner deck, to be honest, than Pirate aggro.
I find the discard aggro deck fun, but only when I'm playing University. Just because, like, literally, if I was just playing discard aggro standardly, I think that I'll get bored. Like, for me, I need decks where I'm having fun as I'm playing them. Otherwise, I just go, oh, what's the point? Like, that's one of the bad things about ladder, is that ladder you just basically continuously, it's just the grind. It's continuously going in with the same deck again and again and again, and then, like, you know, you get the losses, you get the wins, and like, it's kind of like a thing. But you need to, in order, if the climb is what's important to you, you need to be playing the same deck again and again and again, because then you learn that deck. You know its strengths, you know its weaknesses, and you know when you're playing against something, okay, right, this is how I need to play against this deck. But, you know, I need to have the University, because the University it adds that little element of fun and spice in there. It's just like, well, let's see where this is going for science. So yeah, that's why I need that. But yeah.
University definitely adds some spice to Jinx. And you know the funniest thing, whenever you look up a Jinx, like you look up a Jinx Draven deck, none of those decks have University in it.
No. In terms of, like, if you talk about the full on meta deck, then you're less likely, because basically by putting University, because what you need to understand is that discard aggro has been around for so long. Like, discard aggro was so big back, even like, you know, when we're talking about out of beta, and like it's always been a thing which has been in the meta, so it's been refined and established, and like any update of it, that deck gets refined and reestablished, and as I've so much that a landmark actually becomes it's taken away from certain cards in that deck, and it's such a solid deck without the landmark that actually it's one of those things where whether or not you care about having that game when you run out of steam, or because I guess what you need to remember is, with a deck like that, it's all about speed. It's all about the speed of the climb. So once the deck runs out of steam and you can't win anyway, then you just concede. Like, in terms of if you're playing that deck. So the University is more for if you want to have fun and see where it can go. But because it's such a time constraint deck, you just want to be playing the maximum as it can. If it burns out, okay, just surrender, and I'm going directly into the next game. Whereas University means that game's going to take longer. And yes, you could win, but you could also lose, and that's taken away more of your time, which is the idea of the deck is to be a time-efficient climb deck.
Yeah.
So that's why any big meta deck won't have University in, because it's taken away from something, and you're not gonna they don't want that late game, if you understand what I mean. Like they're pushing in for as quick damage as quickly as possible. Done, game done, going up, getting my win, going up the ladder. So yeah, so that's why you won't see University in a meta deck. But if I'm personally playing discard aggro, I've got to put University in just to keep me entertained. Is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you.
Yeah.
All right. So those are my 2 cards.
Yeah, makes sense. So going into mine. So my favorite card, I have been experimenting a bit in Ionia, because a big part of me kind of wants, like, because of certain things that I have, which is I kind of want to see Yasuo back again. So I've been experimenting in Ionia. And Nopify is such a good card in terms of 2 cost, and it is anything that's fire, which it 3 or less. And so all of Tom Kench's, when he tries to eat something, it can stop that. Any kind of pirate, what's his face? I can't think of the names of these things right now. Fervor, or make it rain, just anything, like, it's certain cards that you can just go, yep, none of that. If you're against the discard aggro deck, get excited, none of that. Like, it's what it is. Nopify is, I think, such a funny card to play. I know that there's people who are pissed off with that card, but it's such a good card, and it just re-establishes Ionia as being like, Ionia is the region which is all about kind of trying to stop your spell kind of like way of playing that, because obviously it's got deny, it's got this now, it's got which it stuns and recalls. Ionia, like, its identity is
to stop your stuff.
Yeah, stop doing which it's none of that. Yeah, it's the counter class, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I do like, which I do like Nopify, as it's so useful. I said, and when you're playing that, as I said, either with Yasuo or you're trying to play it with just Zed. Obviously, it's seen a lot of play. Like, it's been added into the Lee Sin deck as well.
For sure.
Technically.
100%.
But yeah, so that's what I mean. That's why, in my opinion, I do. I'm not that I'm playing Lee Sin and whatnot at the moment, but for Ionia in general, I do really like that card.
It's a good card.
Personally.
Honestly, it's a good card. It literally, like, I remember when that card got spoiled, and I was just looking at this card, I'm like,
see, everyone just said, "Oh, it's a 2-cost deny. Oh, this is all gone terrible. How could you print this card? How could you print this card?" But it's one of those things where it's 2 costs, yeah, but it's only gonna be up to a certain thing. So it's not stopping it's not stopping Decimate. It's not stopping Atrocity. It's not stopping Vengeance. It's not stopping Ruination. It's what I'm trying to say is, like, it's a quick card, but it's stopping. If anything, it was more of a pirate counter, like in terms of, like, there's so many, like, cards that are played within, like, that pirate aggro deck, which are 3 or less cards.
True.
3 or less spell, obviously. That it's more that kind of thing rather than it is against like the bigger things, is what I'm trying to say. And, like, it's, if you're against that deck, you know that there's the chance of them having no. You got to play around it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think the biggest card, well, I don't know. It's just maybe it's just me personally, but I think the biggest card that card counters is Culling Strike.
Oh, I lost you.
Yeah, I'm back. I hit my camera a little bit, but I think the biggest card that What is it called? Notify?
Nopify.
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 Oh, I was always pronouncing it wrong. Anyways,
Well, it's the way that what's the face Lulu would say it. Nopify.
oh,
It's what it is, 'cause-
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest thing I think Notify counters is Culling Strike.
I mean, Culling Strike is such a devastating card.
Like
I'm
Culling
actually
Strike,
glad there's a bit of a counter to it.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
such a devastating card.
You don't
Maybe
really
they have
want to
counter to
deny,
that.
like you don't really want to deny it, because you're like, damn, there's so many other cards, but you kind of feel like when they deny, like when they Culling Strike your Lee Sin, you're like.
No. The most craziest combo with that is obviously because it's like if they're playing it with Freljord and just the frostbite into Culling Strike, and it's just like.
So now you have some kind of counter to it.
Yeah.
It's not.
So
you don't just instantly freaking lose the game.
Yeah. So I do really like Notify. I like it as a card. I do actually think it is good for the game, regardless what other people will say. Because there's definitely a lot of people who would disagree with that.
No,
but
I think it's
I
think it's good for the game. I mean, here's the thing. If they had put Notify in any other region, I might have disagreed. Like if they had put it in any other region, any other region, especially Targon. If they had put it in Targon, that card be broken. But
yeah, no. I mean, Targon's got so many cards which are devastating. But it is where it belongs. Ionia it's just re-establishing what Ionia is all about in terms of its
I think it's
identity within the game. So I actually don't mind that card at all. Like I said, I know there's a lot of people who would disagree because there's a lot of people who've been in arms about it. I mean, but they always say about any kind of card which is like a deny or something like that. Most of the time it is people who are playing aggro, or they're playing like those kind of cards. It's the people who are whoever's going to get countered by it the most are going to be the people who are going to be up in arms about it, right?
Yep.
But it's the same with anything whenever they. Yeah.
But I think it's good for the game, to be honest.
Yeah. So my hated card of this week. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a love-hate relationship because I love the card and I love playing it, but I hate it when it's used against me.
Oh god.
Shakedown.
Oh,
Shakedown. It's such a good card, but in terms of whenever I've been playing against that, like in terms of like the decks that I've been playing, just instantly they make whatever the hell they want on my side of the field vulnerable, and it's just like. Because I just know that they're doing it because they know that over time, even if it's like something like that it's gonna take 2 hits for them to take that. It's like they know they can get it. They just need to just keep persevering. It's just like, but I want this card to live. And so, that Shakedown is such. I love the card. It's such a great card to come out, but I hate it when it's played against me, and just the amount of times because. There is a lot of decks that are playing it right now, and I said it's a really, really good card. It's just that it's the annoyance when you're playing against it.
And when you play that in an Undying deck, like you force them to block your Undyings, like oh my god, that's just nasty.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I have no choice in this. How dare you?
That's just
but yeah, no, it's really, really good card. Really good card, without a shadow of a doubt. It's just that it's an annoyance to play against, but yeah, no. I can understand it's a really good card. That's what I will say. But yeah, in terms of this week, that's where the most annoying matches have been, is when they've done that, which has got rid of something which I really wanted to keep. So yeah.
No, I feel you on that. I mean, I remember when Shakedown got previewed. I mean, I didn't think it was a trash card. I thought it was gonna find its deck that it would be good in, and it has. It's found a few decks that it's good in.
But that's what I mean. It's not even like it's a one deck card. It can be used in so many things because it can be used, as you say, in the Undying deck because it can be used to force people to hit into the Undyings, and it can be used. It synergizes really well with the Undying card itself because you can use it actually on your Undying, potentially kill it. but then you are still creating vulnerable so that like you can get them out the next time. Or it works in the healing deck because it's doing damage to your cards, which is what you want if you want to be healing them up. So, which it to create vulnerable on the other side of the field as well as that. It works in so many different ways. Like I said, it could work as yet again another Vlad, which is like a Vlad thing with, because obviously like a Vlad works with a lot of the cards which have been that do damage to themselves in Bilgewater.
True.
It's just another card where it can do damage to something and then also grant vulnerable. I mean, it's because the Vlad deck like needs certain trade-offs, like in terms of like whenever you're trying to do things, you're trying to trade things off so that something's still surviving, so it's still leveling Vlad up, like the ability to choose what you're trading into, especially with like a bunch of the Crimsons. It's such a good card to be able to do that. So yeah, it is, and obviously it's like a Shadow Elves. It can work with so many things in there as well, in terms of if you're trying to kill some of your own cards for different reasons and that. So it's just such a devastating card, and I respect it, but I hate it as well.
Yeah, it's probably been used against you, and you were like, "Damn, that's pretty good."
I mean, the thing of it as well is we need to remember is that, like, not only can it be used to increase what you like to basically get favorable trades and to get rid of their big things potentially that I need to get rid of this, so this at least makes that vulnerable so I can get rid of it. It can be really well harnessed in Overwhelm as well. Make something vulnerable that's got shit health, and you're just like, well, yep, I know that it increased damage is going through. So it's devastating in so many different ways. It's got so many uses, and that's why I think it is funny that I swear that when these cards were first revealed, that Swim just said, "Yeah, no, I don't see the point of that card."
Yeah, I don't know why he said that. I don't know.
I can understand from a first impression. Like literally, like you need to remember this is when he was first seeing the cards and that. So he's also burnt out with like everything else because there was like so many card reveals at that time, and there's like so many different things going down that you need to remember that. Like not everyone's gonna call things that easy because there's other things that they're thinking about in their heads. They're going like, okay, this is what's good in the meta right now, and that's so. And not being able to see every other card that's come out as well, it's really hard for you to be able to make a decision and be like, oh yeah, no, this is good. This is a good card. This is a bad card. It's only when every single card in the set gets revealed. Because I think at the point where Shakedown came out, we hadn't seen Soraka yet, so obviously you didn't know there was going to be like big hills and big things like coming along the way. So like just initially you look at that card and just think, oh, you're doing 2 damage to something to make things vulnerable. Oh well, that's a terrible card. But obviously, because at that point in the meta, Undying wasn't even a thing because of Hush being as it was.
True.
So that's what I mean. Like when you look at it at the time it was revealed and that, you can understand why he would say something like that. But then when you have more time to get, that's what I mean. That's why I think that when people see those kind of first impression things, you need to know that they're the person's first impression. They need more time to think and look at it, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so sure, Swim said that at the beginning when he first saw it, but it was just his understandable reaction of not like at the time and not thinking what could be, and that's so to defend Swim there, it's understandable why he would have said that at the time.
Yeah.
Because I know that it was the funny thing was because I just know that on Reddit it was like the big theory where like it was so obviously Swim was massively against it, but then Mugwai was absolutely loving it. So you had like the two big men, you had one on one side, one on the other side. So that's the thing. It's just like not everyone's going to catch things, and it's going to be some people are going to say that something's going to be trash, and it's going to be trash, and sometimes it's not. It's like literally, I even think that most of the big people thought that Tom Kench wasn't really going to be anything when he came out. From what I remember, I might be wrong.
No, I think everybody looked at Tom Kench and they thought he was gonna find a place, especially after Soraka came out. After Soraka came out, everybody was like, okay, he's 100% going to be in the meta now. Like he's definitely going to be like, he might not be like tier 1 or anything, because everybody thought he wasn't going to be like tier 1. But I'm pretty sure the deck has established itself now, and it's pretty tier 1. But I don't think everybody thought it was gonna be tier 1, but it has. They knew it was gonna be an established deck though, because just you know, when you see a lot of synergy in cards, you're just like, okay, not only is it this 2-mana card, or not only is it this 3-mana card, it's also the synergy between them. That's what really makes a deck. And Tom Kench already had that synergy. There was already a lot of cards that went with him, plus Soraka, plus the cards that came out. It was a match made in heaven. It was already a good deck, to be honest. So no, I would say Tom Kench, they probably looked at it and they were like, yeah, this is gonna be a good deck. But Shakedown was just, I don't know, it was a 50-50 toss up. It was probably more of a 50-50 toss up. But like I said, when I first saw it, I looked at it and I was like, I'm sure this is gonna find a home somewhere. Even if it might not be like the best card ever, it's gonna find a home somewhere, because giving 2 things on a board vulnerable has to be good. At burst speed, it has to be good. Like, honestly, that was my thinking behind it.
Yeah,
but
it's a really powerful effect to put on things. Yeah, considering the fact that it's permanent as well. It's not just for the round.
Exactly.
So it's a really powerful thing to do.
Yeah, that was my thinking behind it. But yeah, we can talk about the either the meta, or we can talk about the seasonal tournaments.
Go for the tournaments. Let's go to the tournaments, the in-game thing. Because I think it's actually really interesting what they've done.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it's great to see that Riot are actually supporting their own game and it's basically like making sure like the tournament, because what I do like about the way that they've done it is so that going back to the game, which should not be mentioned, but Gomez has played many times. Hearthstone actually had like a system where it was kind of similar, whereby if you got into Legend, which is like their equivalent of Master, if you got yourself up in the rankings and you did that on a consistent basis, then you got given points, a certain amount of points, and then everything. Because what you need to remember is that the difference between, I don't know what it's like now, I just know that what it was like when I played it. Hearthstone actually reset every. It's like, you think this is bad with the fact that it resets after every ladder, resets after every 2 months. The ladder in Hearthstone resets every month. You have that month to rank up as much as you can, and then once that month's over, boom, you go back down a certain amount of levels, and then you've got to try and get yourself back up again. So where it was basically, that if you consistently got yourself into the top finishes, you got points, and then they correlated those points. People who ended up in that kind of like a big point bracket would then be invited to tournaments by Blizzard and that. So it's a similar thing to that in terms of that, like, it's in game wise, you're trying to get the best players so that you can then invite them to tournaments. But what I do like is what they've done with Gauntlet. Is the fact that it's not just because not everyone has got the time sink to be able to put into consistently trying to climb the ladder every single season to be able to get themselves into that top place. There is there's people have jobs, people have got things which take up their time, and so what the lovely thing is about the Gauntlet thing is that Gauntlet is another way of at least trying to get yourself into that tournament. Like, if you can look at it and be like, okay, right, I don't have the time to put into this every single season to be trying to rank up into those best ranks, but all I've got to do is at the weekend from Friday to Monday playing the Gauntlet, trying, if I can get those 7 wins to begin with, then I can start to get myself up on the prime glories, and then in that last Gauntlet, if I can get myself in there and get 7 wins within the first, was it 300 and something? I can't remember how many it was. It was 300 and something odd. The first people to get to 700 get also invited to the tournament. It's just it's such a nice way of doing it. I do really like the way that they've done this, because it just at least means that they've got, so there's more positions for if you rank up on the ladder. There's hi there, which somebody in your chat said hi. There's more positions for if you rank up in the ladder, but it's the fact that there is that outlet for people who don't have time to do a massive time sink as well. So I do really like that.
Yeah, No, I think
personally.
I think it's a good thing for the health of the game, because it gives us. I'm not saying that we didn't have a competitive scene. We did. I don't know if you're in like a lot of the other discords with like there's a few different discords. I think it's I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's doing
Jewels of Runeterra. There's Jewels of Runeterra. There was what is it? G Day Marv or I can't remember what his name is right now. One is it? I think I want to say like
Maverick.
Maverick.
Yeah.
Mav.
Yeah.
He ran some tournaments for a time. I can't remember whether or not he's what you think. But there were people, but they were running tournaments off their own back for this game.
Yeah.
And so there is still an esports scene for this game at the moment, but obviously it wasn't Riot weren't the ones who were main fronting it, and so like the prize pools weren't like it was like £100 or $100 or $500 like prize pool type thing. They weren't like this. It was just the starting up. But to be fair, the game's only starting up, so the esports scene was only starting up. But the fact that the game Riot are actually supporting their own game and doing tournaments with it, that's what I like, and the way that they're doing it, I like.
Yeah, same. And it's 324 people from the gauntlet. Yeah, I had to look at it.
And it's like I can't remember how many people from the ladder. Like there's definitely more people in the ladder.
Yeah, it's 700 top people.
Yeah. So I do like that way of doing it, because it just gives you both ways of doing it, whether or not you've got the time to continuously put into this every season, or whether or not you've only got the time during the week to only really do at the end of the week, when like the weekend. So it's really good and really supportive the way that they've done it. But as I said, I wasn't saying that there wasn't an esports scene beforehand for this game, because obviously there is a bit of it. I think that you will see more of an esports scene happen when spectator mode and when like a tournament mode gets added, because basically the people so we need to remember is when it comes to tournaments, when it comes to esports and things like that, the money comes in through advertisements. So you need to be showing something, and so at this moment in time, the people who are doing it, it can be done. It's just a harder situation where you basically have to make sure that the competitors are on Discord and that they're sharing their screen, and then you've got to set it up where so both of them are sharing their screen, and then so you've got to set it up so that you can see their card pool and their card pool. Like it's a really complicated way of doing it to make it happen. Yeah, and it can be much easily simplified by just a spectator mode. Spectator mode can say, boom, that just gets rid of that. You know what I mean? So, so I think that when spectator mode drops, I think you'll see more more people doing their own tournaments. Because I know that I've definitely got ideas for tournaments. As I said, that'll be when I'll be for my winners, giving away the Twisted Fate cards. That I mean, I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway for these cards in general in December. But I mean, actual for tournament winners, I've got a little plaque and a little trophy thing that I've already got established that I'm going to print in that 3D printer behind me. So
Gomez, you over there cooking things up.
I've already been cooking things up. Yes, that's when spectator mode. So I do have plans to run my own tournaments. But that'll be when because that's what I mean. But I think that there'll be more people who will do that kind of thing once spectator mode gets added. So the esports scene is just going to grow. But it's nice that Riot themselves, the actual company, is supporting it, and that they've got actually a nice structure in place where they're not just leaving behind the people who can't rank up on ladder. That's what I'm trying to say. I like their way of doing it, where because a lot of the time, as I said, with the Hearthstone way of doing it, where, as I said, it's all about trying to get those points. So you're trying to rank up as much as possible to get those points. I think that there is a way of earning points by doing tournaments, but they have to be approved by Blizzard. But it's just the fact that, so the game itself has a different way of doing it, where it's supporting those people who don't have the time to sink into ladder. So yeah, I have to say that this whole thing that they've done, I'm a massive supporter of it.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely. The moment that they said it on via that, I think it was that video where they were talking about the patch. The moment they said it there, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna get a lot of support from everybody. Like, because I think everybody's been waiting for some kind of like ending, ending the season kind of event kind of thing. Everybody's been waiting for it. So now that it's here, I think everybody's ready. Everybody has a reason to ladder, so let's do it. Like, you know, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I feel like I'm not gonna say ladder doesn't have a purpose, because it does. I mean, if you're super competitive and you want to make it to the top, you're gonna ladder. But I love that they also gave other people a chance. Like, if you say, for instance, you don't have the time and you don't really have much much energy to play ladder, because it does take a certain amount of drive to play ladder, like to actually make it to
a lot of drive.
Yeah,
a lot of drive.
Yeah, it takes a certain amount of drive to make it to masters. So at least they gave other people a chance to make it to masters. I mean, make it to the tournament. Like, that's amazing that they actually did that, because they didn't have to do that. It could have been like, nah, that first thousand to masters, that's who's gonna be in the tournament. They could have just did that, but they decided to split it, which is nice.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed, massive. So.
Yeah, that was pretty much the tournament stuff. I mean, I wanted to talk about the meta. But I feel like how diverse it is right now, it's kind of hard to talk about. Like, this is, I mean, from my point of view, because like I said, I told you, I was telling you off the podcast. My schedule, I usually only play about 10 games a day. Like, when it comes to ranked, I usually only play about 10 games a day. I don't want to tilt myself, because if I say, for instance, if I lose like 4 of those 10 games, I will just stop playing for the rest of the day. So usually after about like 10 games, and let's say, for instance, I've won about 7 and I've lost about 3, maybe I'll play like 1 or 2 more. But 10 games is usually like, that's usually the amount I play, and for me personally, it works, because if you look at the amount of points that you need to rank up between each one, it's about 5. So if you get 5 consecutive wins, then you go up a rank, and if you get like 1 or 2 more, then if you basically like have a cushion to lose like maybe 2 or 3. So I think that 10 is like a good number for you to play. Yeah. And you don't really have to think about like, oh, I'm gonna rank down, like I'm gonna tilt myself beyond the face of the earth and be and be like 0 OP before the end of the night. Because I feel like before, because I've made it to masters probably about twice, but before, when I used to ladder, when you're laddering, like, you have to have some kind of like, I don't know, I feel like you have to have some kind of strategy. Like, it's hard to play ladder and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna play as many games as I can play today. Like, it's kind of hard to do that, because you have to understand the meta, and you have to understand what decks you're gonna play against. Because if you don't really understand it, then it's just gonna be more difficult, and you're gonna frustrate yourself, and you're just gonna tilt. Like, you're literally just gonna tilt. You're not gonna be able to play. So, I mean, that's just me. I don't know how you do. You have some kind of strategy that you use on ladder, or you just go right on in?
I mean, the thing of it is, right, so it's more the fact, like, the way that I play, like, ladder like, I learned from playing Hearthstone that laddering requires, like, if you really badly want to get up it, you need to be putting in consistently. You need to be checking the damn stat board very to see what the best decks are, using them, or find out what they are to know where you can play counters, and then which is like it's an amazing time sink, and it can be like if you're going into the ladder purely because you want to rank up, like the frustration that you end up feeling like you win like 3 games and you start feeling a bit good about yourself, and then then you lose a game or 2 games, and then like that just really gets in your head. And if you are then continuously, it's right. So right, the best way I can describe it is imagine it's just because I can only assume that the psychology is the same as somebody gambling, right? Now, if you go gambling and you go up a bit, then you think, yeah, no, I'm invincible, I can't be touched. So you put more money, then you start losing that money, and then you're like, I know shit. I need to put more money in to get that back, and then you start losing more. And like, what I'm trying to say is like, that can happen to you on ladder. You need to know when to step away. Yeah. Like in terms of like, because there's been people. I mean, I know that Swerve has come on here multiple times when he said that that he was in like Diamond 1 and then he got knocked all the way back down to Diamond 4. You know what I mean? Like, there's I swear there's definitely been times where he said that he was really high in something and then he just like went into a massive lose. It's that kind of thing where you need to know when to step away, because what is happening is that as you start losing those games, your mentality or like your mind is starting to think negatively, or it's starting to be tilted, and so it's you're not making the best choices because your mind is not in the right place. So you need to know when to step away, just take a breather, take a little bit of energy, and then come back. Yeah. Whereas because I don't care where where I end up, like literally it's just like I do games where I off stream where I am trying to rank up, but it's not like I don't put like crazy time and effort into it. Whereas if cause when I'm playing on stream, I just want to be playing the fun decks. So I want people to see fun interactions. I want people to see just like fun me reacting to things being I want people, because that's the enjoyment, that's the fun. It's not if I was playing the kind of aggro-y decks that you need to be playing to climb in there, then it would be like as you go into all like the top people stream, I mean this might just be me personally. I know there are people who are on the top band who are still entertaining and that, but I know that there's definitely been some people's streams where I've tuned into and it's just dead silence, just their face just as they're moving each card around, just looking at it, not saying anything, not saying okay, right, this is like the best tactical choice I can make, because if I do this and this, then like what they keep you know what I mean? Like it's that energy you need. Like I think that you need that for the entertainment, whereas you do get the ones that just. This is going to be pointless if people are listening to this. So you need to be watching that face. But it's that kind of you know what I mean? Like it's when I stream, I want it to be entertaining, and so therefore that's why I prefer to play when I'm streaming decks which are fun. They're probably going to knock me down in terms of when I'm ranking. It's definitely going to knock me down, but I prefer to play it for, because I mean it's the same. So it's the same as Saucy Mailman, as you said yourself. He most of the time stays in plat and whatnot, but he's an entertaining man to watch. He plays fun decks. He plays, and it's that's more what I enjoy doing, rather than trying to get insane and get and be like, no, I need to get myself into masters, like that type of thing. I prefer to play the fun decks and be fun and entertaining than be the serious. As I said, just the blank face, just moving things about kind of thing. So yeah, that's my personal opinion, but I know that obviously that's not shit. That's the thing. I know that's not shared by everyone. Everyone's got a different thought process. Everyone's got a different mentality towards how they approach a game. Yeah, it's just that's my one. So that's what I mean. So when it comes to ranking up, I do try to rank up, as I said, off stream, but I'm not going crazy in it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you're probably just playing a few games, just chilling. Yeah. Well, the good thing as well is that when I'm off stream as well, I'm also trying out different combinations. I'm trying out things that I'm thinking, this seems like fun. Let's see if I do this and this work. Because I do like deck building, I like being creative, so it's just, yeah. To make a video or whatnot on, so. No, I feel you on that. Especially, I mean, me personally, I'm working on that, because I feel like
a lot of the time when I play Runeterra on stream, it's kind of hard for me to like pay attention to what's in my hand and be like looking at everything that's happening on top of like looking at chat, and then also like trying to make sure everything is good with the stream. It's like it can be a little difficult sometimes to make sure to be looking at everything and make sure everything is good. And then you know, Runeterra also has a timer, so like you keep looking back and forth and you're like, damn.
That's why I like a game like this, is because like there is like there's time. Like, I know there's a time when like you don't always want to be roping your opponent, but there is time where you can look over at chat and be like, and respond to chat, like when you're streaming, respond to chat and then carry on playing type thing. You can't do that shit if you're playing something like Call of Duty or something like that. Your mind has to be continuously
you don't have time.
So you don't have time to look at chat like but like the whole thing about like streaming and the whole thing about that is like it's fostering a community, like engaging with your chat, like actually like we're having a good time together, and that's the way that I prefer things to be, like personally. But
no, I mean, you want to be I mean, like I said, that's what I'm personally trying to work on. I'm trying to be more engaging with chat and with people that come by the stream, and just trying to get them to, you know, just look at the game I'm playing and be a little bit more interested in it. I feel like that's what me personally as a streamer I'm trying to work on when it comes to this game. Because I mean, people just look at it and they're just like, oh, this is just cards. This is just online cards. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but like, you know, these are champions that I've played with before in another game, and then they've come to this game, and I really enjoy playing it. You know, it's just sometimes it can be a little difficult explaining like what exactly Legends of Runeterra is and how it's a good game and stuff like that. It can be a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
especially people that don't really like play cards. It can be extremely difficult.
Oh yeah.
Has somebody ever come in your chat and been like, "What's this?" And then they've never played cards before, so it's kind of hard to reference it. Because if they've never played like Yu-Gi-Oh or Hearthstone or like Magic, like this game is just gonna be really hard to understand.
In all honesty, I haven't, but that is because like when you're streaming, like, you know, people can see what you're streaming. Like, no, if like there's got to be a slight interest in the game for you to watch. Okay, he's streaming Legends of Runeterra. So you don't get many people who've got like I've got no idea what the hell this is or how card games work. Let's just watch this random game I know nothing about. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It's like so I don't really get many people in chat who are like, you know, so what is this? What happens? I do have many people in my Discord who ask me like, you know, what is this game? What happens? I don't understand. But that's because before focusing on Runeterra, I was a variety streamer. So my community before playing this, I played Hearthstone. But Hearthstone used to be, so I used to have like, you know, so Hearthstone was my Monday game, and then I had a Wednesday game, and then I had the Thursday. So being a variety thing, like changing up and that. But I've just like since Runeterra, like since whenever it was that I first, whenever it was I started, dude, I basically focused in purely on Runeterra, and I'm enjoying that a lot more, just like going for a focus thing rather than trying to spread myself across different things. But yeah, there's a few people in my Discord who question things and that, but that's because, like I said, like it's so varied. Whereas when you're streaming, most of the people who come in know slightly what they're getting in for.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I feel like it happens to me sometimes because I try to promote on like my Facebook and stuff like that. I try to promote on like my Instagram and stuff like that. And sometimes people will come from like Instagram and they'll be like, "What's this?" And I'm like, it's kind of. I'm like, I asked them like, "Oh, so have you played like Yu-Gi-Oh?" They're like, "No," and they're like, have you played like Magic and Hearthstone? And you know, I just start naming bigger card games than I know Runeterra is right now. So and then they're just like, no, they've never played card games, period. And I'm just like, I don't really know how exactly to explain it to them other than like this is basically like an online card game where we're playing like different champions, and champions are more or less like it's more or less like special cards that you can play that do different abilities and stuff like that. And then I start showing them like the collection and start showing them like different animations and stuff like that. And you know, most times it'll click with them, and they'll be like, oh, okay, you know, that looks cool, or whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Usually that's how the conversation goes. But sometimes it can be difficult to explain it to people, though. Sometimes it can.
Yeah, I get you.
But I think that's the list, right? That's pretty much.
I think so. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I believe we've covered.
Pretty much everything. Yeah, I mean, usually we do make it to an hour, but I think it's okay for it to not be an hour. Swerve isn't here to give us his input.
We haven't had Swerve's cards. We're down a man. We didn't have Swerve's cards. We didn't have his takes on these things.
Wait. I have a hot take. I believe Swerve's two most hated. Wait, his light card. I feel like he loves Swain. I don't know why this dude loves Swain. Hate Swain. I freaking hate Swain. But he loves Swain.
Because what you need to understand is that Swerve is a Bilgewater man, and so because there's so many damage cards in there, it just always has worked so well with Swain, and it's the fact that Swain has got the Leviathan, like it's such a all those damage cards just pay off when he throws down that Leviathan with Swain on the board at the like. I mean, it's I can 100% understand. I wouldn't say that. I would still say there's got to be a Bilgewater card that would be more his favourite than Swain himself, but yeah, obviously it combos so well. I mean, let's face it. I bet every single time where he's played that Swain, it's been because there's been a Bilgewater like part of that. Like he loves Bilgewater. We know this.
Yeah.
We know this. That is Swerve.
Yep.
Pirate's life for him. That's all we know.
That's all he knows, bro. That's all he knows. Pirate life.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, nah, it's fun for us to end. It's fun for us to end it a little early. So I'm gonna leave everybody's link in the description below for the YouTube people. Everybody's link, my link, Gomez's link, and Swerve's link. I still gotta represent him even though he's not here. But yeah, I'm also I'm trying to figure out if I can because I was trying to look up more ways to get feedback on the podcast. I think I'm gonna start doing like, I think there's like some polls you can put for like different subjects, and I think I believe you can put it in like the comments or something like that. So I'm gonna see if I can figure it out, and if I can, then it's gonna be in the comments below, a little poll of a few different topics that we can maybe cover for the next session if anybody wants to look in the comments below. So that'll be there. That's really it. I mean, we're on different platforms. We have a Twitter, we have a SoundCloud, we have a Spotify, and we also have a YouTube, and then the live series, which is on Twitch. So you know,
indeed, yeah.
We basically have everything. I try to get the podcast to be everywhere, so hopefully we start gaining some traction, start gaining some followers, and you know, everything's go smooth.
Yeah, hopefully it'll go good. Yeah, all good.
All right.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
All right, thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, later guys.
Bye.